Hello, good afternoon. Welcome to our Camnet Media News. My name is Amazing Katamanda. Let's take a look at the stories that are making the headlines. CHILUFYA TAYALI laments over prolonged detention. The Ministry of Local Government records blanks on major policy pronouncements.
Team, the trajectory of the business looks very positive, and it looks like we'll be able to launch the ministry.
There's so much data.
Mom?
Yes, baby?
It says here, global warming and climate change is caused by the pollution from careless activities of human beings.
Wow!
Son, do you know I can turn my phone into a TV remote?
How's that possible?
It's so easy. Check this out.
Be smart, be fast with mega data from Zamtel. Get your 15 GB mobile data for only 100 kwacha, 30 GB mobile data for only 200 kwacha, and your 70 GB LTE data bundle with free Netflix, YouTube, Facebook, and WhatsApp. Visit our Facebook page, website, or service centers countrywide for more information. Zamtel, your digital lifestyle partner.
Thank you for staying with us, and now the news in details. Advisor to the governor at the Bank of Zambia, Emmanuel Mulenga, has told the Lusaka Magistrate Court that the authorized payment for the purchase of the estate in Turkey for the Ministry of Foreign Affairs, based on the information which he had at that time. This is in a matter where former Minister of Foreign Affairs Joseph Malanji and former Secretary to the Treasury Ferguson Nyamba are charged with 10 counts of being in possession of property reasonably suspected to be proceeds of crime and willfully failed to comply with procedure as regards to the buying of property in Turkey for the Ministry of Foreign Affairs. Miriam has more in this report.
An application made in the previous court session by former Secretary to the Treasury Ferguson Nyamba that before trial could proceed in the case is jointly charged with former Foreign Affairs Minister Joseph Malanji. It should be referred to the High Court to determine on whether the charges of willful failure to comply with the law relating to management of public property violates his right to a fair trial as guaranteed by Article 18 of the Constitution has been declined by Lusaka Magistrate Jennifer Walia, citing the application to be frivolous and an attempt to delay the matter before her, which is being handled under the created Specialized Economic Financial Crimes Court. Magistrate Walia has also urged the defense to avoid making such applications which delay court proceedings. This is in a matter where former Foreign Affairs Minister Mr. Malanji and former Secretary to the Treasury Mr. Nyamba are charged with 10 counts of being in possession of property reasonably suspected of being proceeds of crime and willful failure to comply with the law as regards to the buying of property in Turkey. In the first count, Mr. Nyamba is accused of allocating and authorizing the transfer of over 100 million kwacha to the Zambian mission account in Turkey for the procurement of real estate without following the law. In the second count, Mr. Nyamba is accused of allocating and authorizing the transfer of 45.8 million kwacha to the said Zambia mission account. Meanwhile, the state has added 5 more charges against Mr. Malanji, making the charges he is facing before court to be 8, while the 2 charges relates to Mr. Nyamba. And an advisor to the governor at the Bank of Zambia, Emmanuel Mulenga, during his cross-examination, has testified that he authorized payment for the purchase of the estate in Turkey for the Ministry of Foreign Affairs based on the information which he had at the time. The witness, who was first to be called by the state, testified that the officers who signed for the authorization of payment did not commit any offense at the time. He further agreed that the Auditor General did not find anything wrong with the transaction. Allegations against Mr. Malanji are that between 1st January 2020 and the 31st of August 2021, whilst acting together with other persons unknown, possessed a Bell 430 helicopter property reasonably suspected of being proceeds of crime. In the other count, Mr. Malanji is also accused of being in possession of Gibson Royal Hotel, a property also believed to be proceeds of crime. The matter has since been adjourned to 1st July 2022. Miriam Kaimba reporting for Camnet TV News.
Economic and Equity Party leader CHILUFYA TAYALI has complained over continued detention of several days without being granted a police bond. Mr. TAYALI, who appeared before the Lukulu Magistrate Court Monday morning for a charge of defamation of the president, has applied for for the High Court, seeking a determination of the legality of his continued detention.
After spending 4 days in the freezing police cells of Lukulu district in Western Province, Economic and Equity leader CHILUFYA TAYALI has made his first court appearance in relation to one count of defamation of the president that he has been slapped with. The opposition leader was arrested on the 19th of May 2022 and taken to Western Province, where UPND supporters reported him for allegedly insulting the head of state. Mr. TAYALI is facing one count of defamation of the president contrary to Section 69 of the Penal Code, Chapter 87 of the Laws of Zambia, failed to take plea Monday morning as the Director of Public Prosecution has not yet issued consent for his matter to be prosecuted. The EPP leader is accused of publishing defamatory remarks on his Facebook page on the 13th of May 2022. Meanwhile, Mr. TAYALI, who still remains in custody, has rushed to the High Court, where he has applied for habeas corpus, challenging his continued detention. In his affidavit, Mr. TAYALI, who has cited the officer in charge at Lukulu Police Post and the Attorney General as the respondent respectively, laments that after he was formally charged for the subject offence, the officer in charge and the arresting officer declined to grant him bond. He states that his constitutional right against unlawful detention has been breached and will continue to be infringed, and it is only fair that a right of habeas corpus is issued forthwith. Miriam Kaimba, reporting for Camnet TV News.
The Ministry of Local Government, Rural and the Lusaka City Council have so far failed to adequately enforce some major policies recently pronounced. Among the policies authorities have failed to adequately implement include curbing illegal cachaso blowing, street vending, and the congestion of vehicles in the Central Business District.
Monday, 23rd May 2022, we zoom in on the Ministry of Local Government and Housing based on what they said they will do, but they have failed. Zambia is one such country known for having best policies, but accompanied by poor implementation, and the Ministry of Local Government and Rural Development has proved just that on certain matters. We start with the issue of street vending, which is behind the high levels of poor sanitation in the city due to lack of coordination. The ministry made it clear that it had not gone to negotiate with the vendors.
I have not come to negotiate. I have not come here to negotiate. Then tilakamba na wanzatu tilasenza tona. Siku na wame mtamu.
Makosi batiteka njara mwekaza tititira makosi.
That is a solution. That's why it is difficult. Can't throw there.
Maybe they later negotiated because up to date, the situation is the same. Meanwhile, on the 26th of April 2022, the Minister of Local Government and Rural Development raided cachaso brewers in Garden Compound with the view of curbing the vice.
Bwanji kulipe pamene tizavomera ife boma amene inabwera manje kuvemekeza kuti vana vavanzatu bazifera mukachaso. Vana vamene vafunika kuti vaende ku maskulu, vana vamene vafunika kuti vakankale ma doctor, vakankale ma nesi, vakankale ma president baonongokera mukachaso. Kuno ndiye kwamene kupangika vamene muitana ati majanki.
But after they left, it has been business as usual, and no one knows when the council will step on the same soil. The same can be said with the Make Zambia Clean and Green campaign, as it has been launched several times for the same objectives that are never attended to. We also saw the ministry and other line ministries make pronouncements to curb congestion of vehicles in the Central Business District.
Here, the bus drivers themselves the bus operators, the owners of taxis, to ensure that there's complete compliance to the law. This is the very final discussion of this nature.
But up to date, the city is choking with vehicles due to limited parking space, and contravening on the road is the order of the day under the watch of authorities. While these challenges present business opportunities for the council to construct more markets and car parks, this indicates that the Lusaka City Council has not been proactive but reactive, thus making policy compliance a problem. Creating a better society starts with effective policy implementation.
Patrick Soko,
Camnet News in Lusaka.
Traders at Old Lusaka Traders at Old Sakala Market in Lusaka's John Lenge compound are at risk of displacement after part of the community market was allegedly illegally bought off by an individual during the Patriotic Front PF regime. In an interview, the traders have called for quick government intervention as they fear being left on the streets with no trading place. Meanwhile, the accused Jackson Piri has threatened to deal with those who will trespass on his property.
This is Old Sakala Market in Lusaka's John Lane compound, formed in 1973 by the community and later handed over to the council. Wrangles have however emerged at the market, as part of it was allegedly illegally bought off by an individual in the previous regime, leaving traders in danger of displacement. The traders who engage in various crafts at the market have called for government intervention before they are displaced.
So akapanga munga tikutiwi muntu mozi kutatinge market ino shisetavutika betanga twafuna chita so ivo beba plan aba government yoki bazwe ko chipereka ko kuti chipeza kona sendrama ndimo tsingira abana mu so tsebenda so nyangane che bantu bose mwe basebenzera pako bati ngamatumo ne market muno ma shops ena bantu banachokamo ni mlandu amene issue amene yakambati ino market yali kwa tomwe elo ino market yakale munchitasha waka kaunda takwali amata ito titi elo tatuishwe pale ino nchita kusasanga fati umuntu ali kwa dama papers ya ino market.
As a community market, we need the government to come in so that maybe tanzila kumunjira sanangu zamene challenges amene facing akono. And in fact ngati mwangana mamene market ili bantu bonse wanachoka mu market wanatawira malodi kwenda kugulisira malodi malo mauti wazigulisira kono.
Meanwhile, Hayo Mwangankumbula wa 12 Councillor Mr. Aaron Mwanza further says there are intentions to build a clinic on the same piece of land as John Leng has no government health post, adding that donors for the same project are readily available.
And at the same place, there are marketeers who are still trading here. And they have got skills, some of them they are making artifacts, and want to empower these marketeers, starting from because we have found another alternative place where we can take them, so to pave way for a clinic. It will change a lot of lives. Yes, and we won't allow such individual now to interfere with our plans, how we want to empower these people, because this market is for the community, it's not for an individual. In
a phone interview, Mr. Jackson Piri, who is the accused, has alleged that he bought the said land using legal avenues. He has further issued a warning to those who trespass on the land, which he says he bought legally.
We have to put things straight. Let's try to be a little bit, mature when doing things. Not because my neighbor is complaining to say, how can Mr. Piri buy that land? Zona batirekani zaku fightingirani. Ine nzaka mufaita as an individual, not as a councillor. Nzaka fightana as an individual. Sasa kwa nini sakunilipira drama? Mon.
Wrangles have characterized markets in Zambia of recent, necessitating calls for audits from various stakeholders. Zipora Mshala, Camnet News, Lusaka.
That item brings us to the end of our Camnet Midday News, but before we go, let's take a look at the stories making the headlines. CHILUFYA TAYALI laments over prolonged detention. The Ministry of Local Government records blanks on major policy pronouncements. Thank you for joining us on our Camnet Midday News. My name is Amazing Katamanda. Good afternoon.